Welcome to another episode of It Had to Be Said podcast, where we say out loud what you think in private. No topic is off limits. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about the concept of doing what you can with what you have. Because a lot of times I come across individuals, sometimes my students or people that have read my book, and they reach out to me and they say, I don't know what to do, or I have this great business idea, but I'm waiting on this to happen, or I need the money to make it happen. And I often say, well, why don't you just get started with what you have? Because there's going to be this learning curve. I sat down and I've talked to a lot of millionaires, and I noticed the ones that really hit it quickly or hit it at a young age or within, 2 to 3 years after launching their business are the ones with no high school degree or the ones with no college degree. They typically, become millionaires, very quickly after starting their business. Whereas, the ones with college degrees and the really intelligent ones, they eventually make it, but they normally make it maybe 5 to 6 years later. And when you're a very logical person, you've gone to college or you're super intelligent, you're an overthinker, you tend to do a lot of planning. You spend a lot of time planning things out, looking at potential issues and problems, and then mapping everything out. Not saying that's a bad thing. Eventually, you're going to get there and you're going to make it happen. But what happens during all that planning and working through things, you were planning on originally starting this project in, let's say, 3 months. It may take you a year because you're constantly looking at potential issues. And now you have to find solutions to those problems, which is a good way to go, right? But then you have the individual who has no college degree. He's not super highly intelligent or an overthinker. He just knows, or she just knows, I want to get this done and I know I can make money off of it. So they get started, right? They may have a simple idea as this is that business I want to start and this is what I need to do to get started. Now, during that process, once they started the business, they may make, let's say, for example, the success level in that business is 10 steps away. So they may take 2 steps the first time and then take 1 step back. So they ended up back at step number 1. But they've learned from that. And now when they take a couple more steps forward, they're going to end up at step number 4. And when they reach step number 4, they may have to take 1 more step back to number 3 because it's a learning curve. Right. But eventually they're going to get to step number 10, which is success. And they're going to be there and they're going to make it. It's going to be a rougher sale for them, but they're going to make it. And they may make it in a year or 2 years. Whereas you have the overthinker, they spend a year or 2 years planning. Eventually they're going to get there. It's going to be a much smoother sale for them. Right. Because they've done all the planning, but they're going to get there later than the other guy who just decided to do something and just make something happen. A lot of people, especially overthinkers, they're afraid of failure. It's like everything has to be perfect. If there's not 100% chance that this is going to work, then why take the risks? Jeff Bezos walked away from a really great job. He was making over 6 figures he was making about 6 figures a year. And when he went to leave his job, his boss, the CEO of the company, said, hey, let's go for a walk. They went for a walk and the CEO said, are you sure you want to do this? It's very risky. And Jeff Bezos said, look, it's something that I got to do. He was not a tech guy. He was not a tech expert. He paid somebody to build a website for him. He liked reading books. And who thought that Amazon would become what it is now just from reading books, right? And the original plan was for Amazon to sell books. And when he saw that there was no profit in that, he looked at what eBay was doing and said, hold on a second here. People are selling stuff on eBay, but everybody's complaining that it takes so long because sometimes you buy stuff from a seller across the state or across the country or in China. So you might take weeks before you get the product. So his Amazon, which was supposed to be selling books, he decided somewhere along the way to revise it, to change it up. And now Amazon is what it is. And you can get things delivered a lot quicker, right? So this is an example of saying, look, I want to do something And just because I got started with this in mind doesn't mean that's where I'm going to stay at. Things may be revised during the process, you know? And that's what I think is important for a lot of people who want to do something, who want to become entrepreneurs, want to start up a business or have a goal. Just get started. Just have a vague outline of what you want to do and get started. And as you go through the process, you're going to see things. You're going to trip and fall. You're going to take a couple steps back, but eventually you'll get there. Do not be afraid to look like a fool. And that's also another great quote that I came across. And, they asked a millionaire, what is one of the best quotes that you can think of? And his response to that was basically, don't be afraid to make an ass of yourself. You see, a lot of times we're afraid of failure. We're afraid of people laughing at us. We're afraid to go out and, sell our services. Like, I am guilty of that. I have great projects that I want to get involved in, but it requires me going to people and selling my ideas and selling my products to people. And that's not something that I really like to do. That's not something that I'm comfortable doing. I don't like the idea of having to, push my product into people's face. I feel like my product is right here. It's a great product. Here's why it's great. Here's why it's awesome. Do you want it? If you don't want it, then I walk away. That's my mindset. And that's something I'm still working on even at the age of 44, right? But you have to be able to sit there and say, I want to get out of my comfort zone. Often I see people struggling and people miserable in their jobs, miserable with their lives. And I say, okay, well, what do you want to do? I don't have the money to do it. What do you mean you don't have the money to do it? Well, what is it? Well, I want to do this. Okay, well, how much is it going to cost you to do it? I don't know. Where would you set it up? I don't know. So if I was to offer you the money right now to set it up, the business, you don't know how much money you need. You don't know how you're going to execute it, what you're going to do, how you're going to make things work. You know nothing. It's bad enough you're not doing anything as far as getting started, but you haven't even planned anything. So that's why I think that a lot of people, if you have a goal or you have a dream or you have something that you want to do, just get started. All right? Always put in your head that one day somebody's going to come around or the opportunity is going to be there where I'll get the money that I need to succeed, but I have to be prepared. I need to know at least the basics. Planning is important. Yes, but you also have to be able to sit there and say, what can I do or how much can I do right now with what I have? Because you'll be surprised as you get started doing things and people see that, somebody's going to come in and say, hey, I want to invest. Or somebody may end up saying, hey, that's a great idea. I want to be a part of it. The support system actually comes around you once you get started and you start executing. For those of you who don't know, my name is Adley Telford. I did write a book called Better Thinking Habits, the Introduction Edition. And we talk about stuff like this where I talk about looking at the cup as being half full. Instead of being half empty. And there's a great story that I write in there, talk about, being on your deathbed. One of the guys that I listen to, and he's a really great speaker. He goes, Les Brown, that's his name. He goes, one of the richest places in the world, or the most knowledgeable places in the world, is the graveyard. Because there are so many people that pass away and they take all these great ideas with them and they never tried to make those ideas or bring them to life. So when they die, those ideas typically die with them. So I have this thing that I always try to remind myself. Whenever I leave this earth, I want to leave one empty. All the ideas, all the thoughts in my head, I want to try every single one of them. Whether they succeed or not, at least when I leave here, I can sit there and say, at least I tried. I post new podcasts every Tuesday and Thursdays. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.